There's a type of man who never realizes he's the fool in the room. He walks through life making the same mistakes over and over, convinced he's right, while everyone else watches, shaking their heads. He's blind to his own stupidity. And the worst part, he doesn't even know it.
This should be interesting.
If you're not careful, you might be that man. But today, we fix that. Because stupidity isn't just about low IQ. It's a way of thinking, a mindset, a disease of the mind that poisons decisions, ruins relationships, and turns a man into a walking joke. The question is, do you have the signs? Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Sign number 1. He argues more than he listens.
I would say that this isn't, and without even hearing it just off the top, I've been guilty of this. And this is often a young man's issue. So if it's a full grown man or somebody who's been around for many years or things like that, then yeah, you've got a real problem. But I think there's something to be said about maturation, also taking some of these things out. But let's hear what he has to say.
Ever met a man who just has to be right, no matter what, no matter how stupid he sounds? He'll argue for hours, throw tantrums, twist words, anything to avoid admitting he's wrong. This man doesn't listen. He waits for his turn to talk. And when someone smarter than him speaks, he gets defensive. Why? Because deep down, he knows he's outmatched. The Stoics had a word for this: arrogance. A wise man embraces truth even when it hurts his ego. A stupid man fights against it, digging his own grave with every word.
Yeah, that's very plausible. I don't know if I got into tantrums and things like that, but I've definitely argued for hours. And you know what? Yeah, when you think of a tantrum, you think more of a childlike sort of thing. But if you also include anger and things like that, yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, if they're honest with themselves, have probably been at this point at some point, and it was probably a much younger point in life.
So ask yourself, when was the last time you actually listened? Sign number 2, he thinks luck matters more than discipline. The stupid man loves to blame luck. He sees a successful man and thinks, must be nice, he got lucky. He sees a rich man and assumes he cheated. He sees a fit man and calls it good genetics.
Being guilty of this one. Quick story. A guy I worked out with every day, side by side. We would lift, train, spotted each other. We worked at the same club as bouncers, all that stuff. And one day in the gym, somebody gave me a compliment. And it wasn't just like genetics. It was the fact that I was black. And when I tell you, it took a lot to not be the person in the first example, arguing or tantrum or anything else. But we had words in the parking lot, and he kind of saw my side of things, because it's like, you see me working every day. This isn't just a happenstance. There's a lot of people that are black that aren't built like I was at the time. And he's like, well, name one. And it's like, you think everybody just looks like this walking around? And I think I said like Al Roker or something, or Oprah, or, and it's like, then you could see like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I am right, because we worked out every day. So a lot of times people will assign their shortcomings to something like luck on somebody else's part, or like he said, genetics. But here we go.
But ask him what he's doing to improve his life. Nothing. The truth is, he's lazy. And instead of admitting that, he creates a fantasy where success is just a roll of the dice. That way, he never has to take responsibility. A real man knows luck is just discipline over time. Show up, do the work, and watch how lucky you get.
And I will say, this guy worked out constantly, but he was trying to, I think we all have, I don't want to say like we are limited, but sometimes we are limited by our genetics. And he was trying to outdo his own genetics. He was taking supplements, injecting himself with oil and all this and that, and still assigning something like luck, that it was just that I happened to be black, that I was aesthetically, in better condition than he was. It was kind of a mess, and unfortunately, it kind of ended, our friendship.
Sign number 3. He wastes his time on meaningless battles. A stupid man fights battles that don't matter.
So his opinion didn't matter, and I wasn't going to stand and fight with him. The fact that I gave him my 2 cents, walked out, and then he followed me out, that was the opening to have a more meaningful conversation. When I say we had words, it wasn't violence and there wasn't yelling. It was just like, dude, what? Why would you think that? So it was a meaningless battle, and it wasn't one worth fighting.
He'll argue over politics with strangers online.
This is why I don't talk about politics.
He'll start fights over nonsense just to prove a point.
Those are called trolls, and that's not acting in manhood. That's a childlike sort of thing. That's like if you saw a 40-year-old man doorbell ditching, people. It's like, why are you still doing that? That's just to get a rise out of people. That's nothing. There's nothing manly about that, and I don't mean that in a manly man sort of sense, but just as in a mature male being.
He'll waste hours debating things that change nothing in his life. But a smart man, he knows his energy is limited. He doesn't fight battles that don't lead to victory. He chooses his wars carefully.
Men, think this over, this part specifically, when you are going through something with the mother of your children. You have to understand that there is a prize at the end of it all, and you cannot go for the pitfalls. Do not fall in for the arguments. Keep everything in text messages and emails so you have receipts. Watch what you say. Know that you are recording history, so you want to be on the right side of it, and let them be the person who falters, so when you go to court or your children ask questions later in life, you have answers that are clear and concise for them that had nothing to do with you falling in and engaging with emotional behavior. This whole piece that is coming to us is 6 Signs of a Stupid Man, Stoicism, by the Stoic Tribe on their channel. So guys, just keep that in mind. You have to practice some levels of Stoicism. Otherwise, you will fall victim to what somebody is trying to get you to do. Like, they will manipulate you. So keep that in mind.
Marcus Aurelius once said, "You could be good today, but instead, you choose tomorrow." Think about that.
Procrastination.
How much time have you wasted fighting over things that don't actually change your life? Sign number 4. He thinks his feelings are more important than reality.
Feelings. Guys, you got to go with logic first. And there is a place for feelings and emotions. Don't get me wrong, but you got to go with logic first, especially as a man. Especially if you don't want to be a stupid man, because we've seen it. We see it in social media. I'm sure you've seen it in real time. You know somebody who reacts with feelings and emotions first. And even if you do, sometimes just not speaking to it immediately. So then there's some stoicism, mixed in there that logically says, I can't speak the first thing that comes out. I need to process this, and I can't just let it overwhelm me or let that be how I pollute the room with an overreaction.
A stupid man lets emotions run his life. If he feels angry, he reacts. If he feels sad, he gives up.
And that angry react sort of thing, a lot of times people will mask that in being thuggish or gangster, and they're the first ones to want to throw hands. Well, what's up then? What's up, homie? What's up? And that still is a breakdown of emotional control. That is a tantrum. That is a rant. That is whatever you want to call it. That's not a healthy place to be in. And as far as the sadness and depression, that's a different place to go. But again, if you're just quitting on yourself, you need to find some help. And you need to get around a better group of people that are going to support you in some of your endeavors. Now, it doesn't mean they'll do it for you, but it just means that you might be in the wrong room, and you need to get into a place where there's people that are like-minded, that have positivity going on, and aren't in this sad sack sort of place. And again, therapy might have to be a road for some of you to take.
If something hurts his ego, he lashes out. He thinks the world should adjust to his feelings. but the world doesn't care. A real man understands feelings are just temporary waves. You don't fight them. You don't drown in them. You surf them. You acknowledge them, but you don't let them dictate your actions.
Yeah, learn to tread water, whether it's choppy water, calm water, hot water, cold water, murky water, clear water. You got to learn to do that, because otherwise you will drown in that liquid of emotions. And it doesn't have to be but this deep in order to get inside of you and consume you. So drowning doesn't have to be in the middle of the ocean or the deep end of a pool.
Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." The stupid man is a slave to his emotions. The wise man is their master. Sign number 5, he never learns from his mistakes.
Ooh, this is a good one. And we've all seen somebody who didn't, whether they became addicted to something, whether it was food or substances or gambling, had too many kids with different women, just did a lot of things that, and also just not learning, from those lessons. Like, lessons are there, and if you repeatedly continue to stumble through those, I'm always willing to give the caveat to people that, we learn at our own pace, but sometimes, boy, that learning is really going to be set back if you just keep tearing the pages out and burning them.
You ever meet a guy who keeps making the same dumb mistake over and over? Maybe it's getting into toxic relationships. Maybe it's blowing his money on stupid things. Maybe it's trusting the wrong people.
Yeah, you can't make this up. Just all those things.
And every time, he says the same thing. "Man, I just have bad luck."
Pulling those pages out and burning them. Even when somebody else lends you a textbook from their experience, you still try to tear their pages out.
Number, you don't have bad luck. You have bad patterns. A stupid man repeats his failures because he never studies them. He never asks, "What did I do wrong?" He just jumps back into the same fire, expecting not to get burned this time.
And this is a common mistake, like he mentioned, in relationships. They don't even have to be toxic. I mean, toxic is, I think it's an overused word and it's not being used correctly. But when you have just a mismatching of people, if there's no compatibility, it doesn't mean that it's toxic. It just means that you have not aligned yourselves with the right people. And sometimes when you continue to make those mistakes, your thoughts of where you're at and what you deserve are in two different places. And so sometimes, there's delusion at play.
A wise man, he analyzes, he adjusts, and he doesn't repeat the same mistake twice. So, which one are you? Sign number 6, he surrounds himself with other stupid people.
Birds of a feather.
Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future.
And when you think of the lemmings, where one falls off the cliff and then they all just run off the cliff as well. So, yeah, and that's a very true statement. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You will see a lot of people get taken down by the company they keep.
A stupid man surrounds himself with losers, complainers, gossipers, people who waste time, make excuses, and drag each other down like crabs in a bucket. Why? Because it's comfortable. The smart man, he seeks out those above him, people who challenge him, push him, force him to level up. He's not afraid to be the dumbest in the room because that's how he gets smarter.
Yeah, if you want to do better, be around people doing better than you.
Look around. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they making you better or keeping you stupid? Now you know the signs. The real question is, what are you going to do about it? The world is filled with stupid men, but you don't have to be one of them. You just have to wake up. And if this video helped you see things differently, then do one thing. Hit that like button and subscribe. Not for me, for you, because this is just the beginning.
Nice piece. And while we're on that, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button on this channel as well, because a lot of the VAJ philosophy videos that come out are kind of in the same context, not exactly speaking directly to Stoicism, but has lessons laced in them, and I hope that it's something that everybody can enjoy. So, what are your thoughts on something like this, these Stoicisms, and what are your thoughts on these 6 signs of being a stupid man? And can that just apply to being a stupid person, stupid woman, anything along those lines? But I think it is important because we're sorely missing a lot of positivity when it comes to male role models, and there seems to be a shortage of that as well. And in the campaign that has existed for many years, in especially in America, just derailing men from getting to their true purpose and their true fulfillment has been a thing. And so we have to be very aware of what that means for young men coming up behind us. So leave it in the comments. Your ace up the sleeve. Would love to hear from you guys. Subscriptions to the channel are free. And as always, I hope this finds everybody in your place, pursuit, or beginnings of total health, mind, body, and soul. Peace, love, unity, solidarity. And as always, subscriptions and videos. So stick around.